Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Coming to you on day 60 of my cold pressed juice feast solid food vacation. It's been a bit since I did a video, so I wanted to pop in and let you all know how I'm doing. First of all, it's full-time summer, as you can probably see with the sunlight out here, and it's gotten warm, which has been a big plus for my juice feast. I've been getting a lot of sun. I'm feeling very invigorated by the sun, and the juices really complement the warm weather very nicely. It's still a quarantine lockdown, so it's not been a typical summer. For that reason, me and my fiance, we've been wanting to kind of do what we can to enjoy the summer. So last weekend, we actually took a road trip to the beach about 3 hours east, and we stayed the night, so it was a weekend trip, and I got to try a new thing, which was traveling while doing the juice feast, which at first seemed a little bit maybe daunting or challenging, but it was a 2-day journey. So I got up in the morning and made about 1.5 gallons of juices, bottled those, put those in the cooler. But we had a hotel room for the evening, so I also brought my juicer in the trunk and parts, and I was able to juice at the hotel room the next morning. I'll talk a little bit about that, but it's really great to get on the road, get to the beach, kind of be in nature. We did some biking around some trails, saw some really cool wildlife, and I treated myself a little bit. I used to be a big coffee guy. I haven't been drinking coffee on this juice feast, but it was day 55 or so, and when we did this trip a year ago, we stopped at a drive-through Starbucks, and we got the last time we got iced almond milk lattes, and I thought, I don't want to, my fiance wanted to stop there again, and this time, and I thought, I'm gonna do it too. I'm gonna have a iced almond milk latte. It's not, animal product or anything. I don't think it'll be too, harsh on my digestive system. So we stopped, and I got an almond milk latte, an iced almond milk latte, which is about 1 shot of espresso and then 6 or 8 ounces of almond milk over ice. I started to drink it, and I've sipped some coffee now and then, like espresso or black coffee during the juice feast, just little sips to sometimes it helps my bowels move a little bit when I need, and in those times I found that the taste compared to the juices, which I'm now used to, where it's like the coffee is way, way, way too bitter, and I really can't even barely have one sip. Once my bowels move, I have the one sip, and then I just throw the rest out. And the almond milk latte I could only sip it, and it was funny because I had been drinking the juices and then going to this almond milk latte. Even when I just sipped it, I could feel on my tongue going down into my throat, into my digestive system. I could feel the kind of dehydrating properties of the almond milk latte, and I used to love this stuff, and when I drink it last weekend, it was like, it was nothing special about it. I mean, I got like a 6 ounce or an 8 ounce drink, and I sipped it for the final 2 hours of the car ride when I was driving, and honestly I couldn't even finish it. I got maybe halfway through it, and it just got warm, and I just pitched it. So I treated myself. It was nothing bad happened. I wasn't like I chugged it, and honestly, it was funny because it highlighted the psychological challenge of the juice feast, and that you feel like you're missing out on foods or on these treats that you used to enjoy. And I knew that the drink wouldn't really taste great. It would be a little bit bitter. It would be kind of not life-giving or invigorating in my throat, and it was kind of dehydrating. I could feel the dehydrating property go from the tongue, from the back of my tongue down my esophagus, and I was like, it's really doing it for me. But I just wanted the treat of going there and having the psychological pleasure response of doing the thing and having that experience. And I did. I'm not going to beat myself up for it. I think it's fine. I drank a little bit of it. It was okay, and that was that. So I just thought it highlighted on this journey, kind of the psychological challenge of taking it day by day and feeling like you're missing out on stuff, but really it's you're not missing out on those things, but you just kind of missing out on the psychological dopamine effect of having the treat. So those are some things I'm dealing with on the journey. I mean, it's day 60. I'm at least halfway or over halfway on this journey, and I've talked a bit before about what I'm going to do afterwards, and raw foods, fruits, juices have been a part of my life even before, for almost a year or so, and then vegan before that, before starting this journey, and I know that those are the foods for me, the invigorating foods, that the staples that I'll always go to. But I'm not sure I'm going to be as perfect, saint after this juice feast, and I think that's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up if I slip up, occasionally, and I'm not like a perfect raw vegan after this. I mean, I know, I'll be very careful once I break the feast, and then after that, if I slip up now and then, I can always go back to the juices for a couple days until I feel like, my normal, energetic, light, lively self again, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to catch it, because I caught myself worrying about how I'm going to be, so raw and so, perfect in my eating, and in reality, that might be too much to ask, especially when I want to enjoy the benefits of and the social occasions, going out to dinners with my fiance. You can always avoid those things by preparing, but some things you might not be able to prepare for. So that's kind of some of the things I'm thinking about. On that trip to the beach, the next morning I woke up and I cleaned all my stuff off in the hotel bathroom and made my juices. It took a while because I was in a new location. I didn't have a proper kitchen really, and it took maybe 2 hours or so, whereas what normally takes an hour and a half took two and a half hours. I was going to the car, I was going to the trash can in the hallway, I was washing stuff off in this shower, but I made the juices and it worked. And but just kind of I woke up a little bit late because we were traveling, and I didn't want to awake my fiance who was sleeping in the same bed with me. But I was so busy psychologically and physically making the juices that morning that I didn't have any bowel movements really that whole day. I think mentally, once you get a bit locked into something or you're preoccupied with something, maybe you're in a new location, you're traveling, I think you can get plugged up or constipated, and that's normal. I think everyone deals with that. So that was a really rare day. I think that was like day 54, 55 when I didn't have any movements. But then the next morning, once I got home, and even that evening, I could feel that there was stuff in my colon, like I was having gas, which is pretty rare on this solid food vacation. But the next morning, I just had like the biggest movement I've had on this solid food vacation. I mean, it was crazy how big it was, and it was like the first of like 5 or 6 movements I had that day. And I think that was day 55, and since then I've just been like having so many movements, solid movements in the morning, wet movements in the afternoon. But even the wet movements, but before I would thought was maybe like a little bit of juice that would pass. Even solids, like substantial solids, are coming out in those movements. I mean, sometimes it's like 5-6 movements a day. And I mean, it's day 60, and I'm still eliminating the most stuff I've eliminated since starting. At least the rate at which I'm eliminating it's the most now than it ever has been, which is encouraging. And none of it looks like mucoid plaque per se, but I did do a lot of mini juice feasts before starting this, so maybe that stuff was hydrated in my system. I'm not really sure. I don't feel like I've got so much kind of plugging me up in me, but even if that stuff is sitting in my small intestine, or just if it's waste from my cells, that's being passed out, it's good to get rid of it. So I'm eliminating super well. I'm doing maybe a teaspoon or tablespoon of flaxseed per day, B12, getting tons of sun, which I think is helping elimination, and getting a lot of fresh air and exercise too. I haven't been doing as much colon massage, but doing deep breathing exercises has really helped. These larger movements that I've been having the last 5-6 days, daily eliminations have been preceded, and it's happening especially when I first wake up in the morning, by some emotional detox. So sometimes I'll wake up with some negative feelings, and then that is coupled with very large eliminations that I'll have that day. It's an interesting rhythm or pattern that I've noticed some other long-term juice feasters have had. The emotional detox that or the negative emotions that tend to precede the larger movements, that happened a lot on that first day after my trip, when I eliminated a lot of stuff. And I found that I hadn't done coffee enema in a while. I hadn't done that for 2 or 3 weeks. I was doing them a lot. Then I had a colonic. Then I stopped doing coffee enemas. I was doing more deep breathing exercises. But I always thought I'll do coffee enema if I feel like it, or if I have maybe some emotional detox. Maybe that coffee enema can help get rid of that. And that really worked. The day I think I had like 6 movements. My biggest movement was in the morning, and then I did a coffee enema like mid-afternoon when I thought I was done. And I mean, not only did I feel a lot better, but I felt a lot better after doing the coffee enema, and then I passed like a lot of solids when I released the enema, and that had never happened before. Normally when I release the enema, it's just some bud, and then the coffee, but there was a lot of solids that came out. So I'm eliminating really well, really happy for that. Probably will do coffee maybe once a week when I need, but that was a really effective thing, and I was able to hold it for 15 minutes, did like a quart and a half, so that maybe just a quart, so that felt really good too. I highly recommend those. But yeah, for those folks who are thinking of doing a solid food vacation, and maybe thinking of limiting the number of days they do, I would say consider going, deep into this, because I'm at day 60 and I'm passing the biggest stuff I've passed, and I wouldn't want to stop now until this subsides, lest there's stuff in me that I wouldn't be getting out were I to stop now. And like I said, I'm might not be a saint after this feast, after this solid food vacation juice feast. I might have cooked food every so often, maybe once a week. Maybe I'll never have it. Maybe it'll be like the almond latte, when I have a couple sips and I'm like, this, it's nice to be doing this, but it's not doing it for me. And I'll just be happy with the fruit I have in the day, and raw food, cucumber noodles or something, in the zucchini noodles in the evening. But as far as getting all the stuff out of me that's amazingly still in there at day 60, and not being perfect going forward, I want to atone for the stuff that I've done in the eating and the stuff that is inside me up until now. I want to get that stuff out, so that the stuff that I accumulated before I had this knowledge of raw foods and bowel transit time, when I was a kid and fed processed foods and fast foods, we didn't know. My family didn't know, I didn't know, and then as I was growing up and becoming a young adult and entering college, kind of unhealthy habits that I didn't really try to start fixing until I got out of college, and that took a decade and a half to where I'm at now. But I want to at least atone for that time, so that now that I've got this knowledge, and I can continuously cleanse, I want to get all that stuff out of me that I would have accumulated before getting that knowledge, so to speak. And even though nothing has come out that looks like mucoid plaque, some stuff comes out that's, you know, slips out that in a wet movement that doesn't exactly look like poop or feel like poop. I mean, it feels harder or slipperier or something. So it's really good to be getting that stuff out. As always, let me know what comments you have. I'm super quick to answer questions about my experience or give my advice for folks that are thinking about doing this. Always happy to share experiences, compare experiences. Yeah, day 60, entering summer here, and life is good. Can't wait till the produce comes in season in the next month or so. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.